Oftentimes I get asked, is it better to keep my money at home in a safe, locked up and hidden? Should I pull all my money out of the bank and convert it to cash? Should I go to a credit union? Should I buy gold, silver, and other precious metals to protect my wealth? And for those that don't even have much wealth to protect, they're very, very concerned about the little bit that they do have as they continue to try to struggle to get by and make it day to day and pay their bills and buy food and life's necessities and struggle through this economic downturn, record high inflation, and basically just a confusing and uncertain future as the world is in turmoil and our financial markets are upside down. The Federal Reserve, is gambling with our livelihoods. And unfortunately, you add on top of that situations like South Florida now going up the East Coast along the Atlantic coastline, hitting southeast Georgia and the Carolinas, bringing Category 5 or Category 4 hurricane winds. Hurricane Ian made landfall South Florida, Tampa, Naples. You have images, videos of sharks, physical sharks swimming in the streets from floods. And now the high winds are traveling up through Orlando into the Carolinas. And what this does is it puts people in a position where they are unable to return home. They've evacuated. They've taken shelter. And they're unable to return home until it is safe to do so. Now, with that being said, where is the best place to put your money? Where's the safe solution? And how do these two tie together? Well, for some, thinking that the safest bet was to take my money out of the bank and keep it at home in a safe location, had to evacuate and leave behind so many assets, so many valuables, as they were most concerned with protecting what is most valuable, which is life itself. Well, some people have a different opinion and will stick around or even travel to, as it is a prime opportunity for them to have their way with all that you've left behind, as they can pick through homes, they can loot, they can raid. And for those who decided that they wanted to try to protect their wealth, their money, their savings, their retirement in those ways, may find that that could have been a terrible idea. Now, that is an extreme, but what is more common is that perhaps maybe in a situation like this, a vehicle is left stranded. It's flooded. A home is left unoccupied. And there is an opportunity for folks to come in and pick up personal identification, credit cards, bank cards, check cards, debit cards, checkbooks, bank account numbers, routing numbers. All these things are very important. And it paints the full picture of the way to protect wealth and yourself and protect your family and prepare to survive through situations like these. And it always comes down to the same answer: diversification. Diversification. Now, how does that work in a situation like Hurricane Ian? Well, for example, let's just say you have no diversification and all your banking is done through one bank, one checking account, one check card, one debit card. And let's just say, for instance, you have evacuated, and unfortunately, through no fault of your own, your information has been stolen, tampered with, and now you are communicating with the bank's fraud department. So, what does that do? Well, the fraud department is going to aid and assist you as you wait for extended wait times and lengthy hold periods, as there are fewer employees at these branches, at these customer service centers, that these companies are willing to put on payroll, in addition to extremely high call volume, as this is a widespread event. So if you don't have the diversification, that then puts you into a vulnerable situation where the fraud department is there to help you. But what do? All they'll only do what they can do, which is put a temporary hold on your account and pretty much lock everyone out to prevent fraud. Well, if you lack the diversification and that's your only bank, you are now pretty much left without. And that could be a devastating time, as you need access to your funds for food, for temporary shelter, for fuel, for a rental car, for a hotel, a motel, a Airbnb, anything. If you lack the diversification, now you are at the mercy of the banks and waiting for a replacement credit card, or actually debit card, check card, checkbook, basically a new account. But with that being said, if you are displaced from your home, just a forewarning, the banks will not send your personal information, these replacement cards, they will not send it anywhere except for the address on file. So that means if you've evacuated and or haven't returned or can't return, then you have to then wait to update your information to a new permanent address for the banks to even be able to provide you with these replacements. Now, if you decided, hey, I'm going to take all my money out, I'm going to live on I'm just going to go cash based. Well, if that's the case and the cash is stashed, stored, hidden in a safe, hopefully it's protected. But if it is in a location that is not where you are and you can't reach it, then you lack the diversification and are ultimately still at risk. So that's the message. Diversification. More than one bank account is a wise and prudent planning and preparation measure for unknown situations that could hit at any time, at any place. Where if you were in a situation where the bank fraud department had to shut down your accounts for protection, you'd have a backup account at another bank. Your mortgage payment wouldn't be declined. Your rent payment wouldn't be declined. Any auto drafts that you have for paperless billing or anything like that wouldn't be disrupted, because you could easily pivot to an alternative means of payment. With that being said, credit cards. Credit cards are very important. Not for the matter of charging for things that you can't afford to pay for, and wasting money and ultimately burying yourself in debt by charging and financing with high variable APR interest rates. No, credit cards are great tools for daily transactions, as the threat of identity theft and fraud is a growing possibility. Credit cards can be turned off. Credit cards can be replaced. Credit cards can be, you can actually be given a virtual credit card number if need be, and credit cards don't tie up your personal funds, your cash in your checking and savings accounts. Credit cards also make for great alternative means of increased diversity. So in my opinion, what I do is I have multiple banks for multiple reasons in multiple places, with various amounts of money in each account for safety reasons. And most, if not all, of my daily transactions occur through credit cards, while also keeping cash on hand in various locations, so that I am never, in my opinion, never totally vulnerable, totally exposed to the elements and at risk of what I don't know. The problem with most is that they don't know what they don't know. And it's not until it actually happens that you say, wow, I can't believe that I'm in this situation and I don't know what to do. So, getting your money out of the banks is not only taking out everything and just living on cash, it is getting it out of one bank. It is spreading it throughout multiple banks. It is having a diverse means of conducting transactions and having access to your funds for survival, plain and simple. And there's people out there that say, well, I don't even have any money to spread around and diversify, which is another growing problem as the shape of the economy and inflation and what the Fed and Jerome Powell have planned for folks. 1.2 million Americans are at risk of losing their job. There is a threat of a push to slow the economy, to bring down the housing market, which will bring down, in theory, inflation, which is expected to happen through 2024 into 2025. It's going to be a very long time for people to struggle, especially if they're struggling now, barely getting by as it is. And it is just going to continuously get harder and harder and harder as time goes on, hopefully reaching a solution and leveling out to some form of normalcy. But that new form of normalcy is more than likely the new wave, the new era of the elimination and extinction of the lower and middle income classes as we move to a new world order, so to speak, which will make it much more difficult for families to own homes, build wealth, have savings. Think about even the idea of retirement, which we're going to continue to discuss more and more in future videos. If this interests you, if you want to know more about it, if you want to have ways of protecting your family financially for tomorrow in the future, and also navigating these unbelievable economic times as these situations continue to grow and compound and escalate. Homelessness is going to run rampant. Families are going to be living in their cars. Social Security, government assistance programs, the idea of a stimulus check is not going to ever occur again, and it will become feast or famine, most famine. I don't want to see that happen to you guys. I want you guys to survive. I want you to be prepared. I want you to thrive. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Talk to you guys real soon.